Tim, the ice cream guy, I think before we start talking, we should start eating.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Ice cream at 9:15 in the morning. What kind of deliciousness have you brought me here?
So
Tim?
I tried to bring a nice selection for different palates, all the ice cream food groups, right? Yeah. So you're holding Dairy Farmers Delight there. That's one of our flagship flavors named in honor of the dairy farmers who make the milk that goes into our ice cream. And Bay City Brownie. So that's a very chocolatey, fudgy base. We use Calibo chocolate in that and homemade brownie bites.
Calibo
chocolate.
Explain what that is.
It's just a really fancy chocolate.
Yeah.
They're premium, and so the best ingredients make the best ice cream.
Heck yeah, they do. What about this maple walnut?
Maple walnut is I think it's one of our highest quality flavors, right? So it incorporates a lot of maple syrup into the base.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had this.
So it's limited edition, right? So that one is our only limited edition that I've brought today, from what I can see. So we do have flavors that rotate throughout the year. So.
Oh yeah, Michigan sugar cookie. This is my go-to right here.
Right. Yeah, because we use Pioneer sugar, locally sourced, grown in Michigan, in all of our bases of ice cream.
Yeah, I've probably eaten like 10 gallons of that in my lifetime. Strawberry Fields forever.
Very creamy. It's actually a sherbet just because it has so much fruit sugar in it. It's very soft.
Oh.
And then it's all naturally flavored as well.
What's the technical difference between ice cream and sherbet?
It's about how much butter fat it has in it, and then how much sugar it has in it from fruits.
Okay.
So sherbet's going to be softer.
Ooh, what's this guy?
So utterly buttery pecan, right? So that's our buttered pecan variety. And those pecans are from St. Laurent Brothers. We do toast them and butter them ourselves. So we're one of those, they wholesale us nuts. And then we make them ourselves. So it's a butterscotch base.
Is butter pecan for old people? That's what my daughter says, and my wife says too.
Anecdotally, I know that sometimes the people that order that flavor fit a certain demographic, but I think everybody can enjoy butter pecan.
Yeah. I love it, so I don't know what that says about me, but I think
an old soul, probably.
Yeah, an old soul. Is there, as far as tasting goes, is there a correct way to do it? Like,
man, that's a great question. I should know the answer to that. Whatever is strongest on your palate should go last, I would think.
What if you had to rate the strongest flavor? The most
pecan and maple are both stronger flavors, and they're similar. So maybe try those together at the end there.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this,
and I'm gonna have some as well.
Yeah,
honestly.
And you're gonna have some, and then we're gonna throw in the added benefit of also trying to have a conversation about cream and sugar.
Yeah, eating like and talking at the same time.
Oh. So I walked across the street a couple weeks ago, took a photo of the door open in Old Town Saginaw. You guys are doing some construction over there, and the Saginaw Facebook just went wild.
Yes,
they
it
just
did.
went absolutely crazy. So people are really looking forward to you coming to Saginaw. Bay City, of course, has had a couple year running head start on you guys up in Uptown. Can you tell me a little bit about the start of Michigan Cream and Sugar? Because I think the origin story is super unique.
It is. And they've actually had a 5-year, believe it or not, 2019, now it's 2024. It's been 5 years, which is really hard to believe.
That is hard to believe. Wow.
So I love telling this story. So Michigan Cream and Sugar was founded by the grower owners of Michigan Sugar Company. They wanted to kind of show off some of the neat things you can do with locally grown products, locally grown sugar. The sugar company is a big deal, a lot of economic impact in Bay City. And so they contribute a bunch to our community.
It's also really cool that Michigan Sugar it's owned by the growers.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over that.
Yeah, it's just, you mentioned the grower owners, and that was something when I started, I did some work for Michigan Sugar, Cream and Sugar at the beginning, and that was something that I thought was really cool because they sent me out to the farms, and I got to see the farmers and their cows or their sugar beets or whatever it was, and it's owned by the farmers. It's not just a corporation that comes in and extracts everything,
right?
And, pays the farmers as little as possible. These sugar beet farmers own the company, and they're like, hey, we want to reach out into the community and really give people an experience of what we do. And this such a cool idea.
Yeah, no, that I couldn't have said it better myself. So they wanted to start an ice cream shop because what better way to show off the sweet Pioneer sugar and then the great dairy that we produce in Michigan.
Yeah.
So they started an ice cream shop. They wanted to turn that sugar into ice cream, and they know how to grow sugar beets, but probably not make ice cream. So they had to find a food service partner, right? Somebody to run the food service. And because this whole thing is about locally sourced, and they didn't go to like an Aramark or a Compass Group or one of those big national food service brands, they reached out to a local company in Saginaw to help start the brand, which was Horizons. Horizons is a conference center here in Saginaw. They have some local businesses that they work with. And so Horizons helped Pioneer Sugar, and then eventually Michigan Milk Producers Association come together to form this ice cream business. That's how it started. Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to Willie, the OG recipe man, because I would go to Horizons to talk to Willie, and Willie would be in his back kitchen with, it looked like a laboratory because he had all of these like aluminum pans filled with all of these different variations of ice creams, and it was just like a mad scientist in this back kitchen in Horizon Center. It was really cool to see him come up with recipes and experiment and play with it. It was more, like you said, it's more than just we check this box on the order form.
Right.
And then the National Food Service shows up every Tuesday and refills our stock. Like it is literally made from scratch, even down to the recipe.
Down to the functional ratio of sugars to butterfat to liquid, and you have to balance all those things out, right? So it's a lot of work. Willie has some great recipe ideas. This sugar cookie crumble made with Pioneer brown sugar is something that Willie developed. Same thing with this strawberry recipe. You know, we make tweaks along the way. We'd like to get even better, you know, or this Dairy Farmer's Delight. So he's been described as a mad scientist.
Yeah.
That actually went on for about a year before the shop ever opened, before we ever sold our first scoop of ice cream.
Wow.
We invested in somebody just to experiment and come up with a brand new concept, brand new flavors.
I love that. Is it, I kind of remember having this conversation with him once. There's like different kinds of ice cream. Like I walk in and I just go to the ice cream section at the grocery store and I buy ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
But he was explaining like it's something about the base of the ice cream being different, or it's like French, or so the consistency is different. Do you know anything about that?
I do.
Tell me about that.
So let's see. 3 of these are custard bases. Yep. So pecan, sugar cookie, and Dairy Farmer are all custard bases. So they have at least 8% egg yolk in it, providing some of the creaminess in them. Mm. So that's the custard base there. Whereas the brownie it's a chocolate Philadelphia base, which doesn't mean it has cream cheese. That's the name of a recipe that's sweetened with like sugar and has cream and milk as the base of it. Oh. For us, we make every single one of these from scratch. So it's not even, we just don't make a custard and add flavor to it. For example, this pecan has more brown sugar in that custard. So it's cooked separately from the Dairy Farmer sugar cookie.
Wow.
So right now we have 19 flavors in our case, which is more than we had 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's a lot of flavors.
Most of those flavors, we make a special base just for that flavor, which allows us for example, we have an up-and-coming carrot cake flavor we're re-releasing, and it has a lot of carrots that go into the base, and so that's going to add more solids. So we have to offset that with how much milk powder or cream. So there's a lot of math that goes into it, and that's what makes our ice cream so special. Besides the local sourcing that we do, and I can talk forever about our local sourcing. So.
We're going to talk about that in a second. I just want to gush over the making of things from scratch, because it would be, quote, fairly easy to say, well, we're not just getting tubs of ice cream delivered to us every Thursday. Like it's the Superman that we serve here is the same Superman that you get in Traverse City or in Florida, wherever. But the next easiest step would be exactly that. Well, we make a base, and then we, dump in our food coloring, and we throw in some pecans, and then we're like, yeah, this is pecan walnut.
That's the smart way to do it. We don't do it the smart way. We're fairly unique. I'm aware of another. There's very rarely there's ice cream shops that make their own base from scratch. And the ones that I'm aware of will make maybe 4 different bases, you know?
Yeah.
And just to me, I like to give my flavor the identity in the step when we're cooking it. And that's the same thing that we started with Willie. He didn't make just one flavor and then add stuff to it. Like that white chocolate base that goes into our mixed berry crisp is a whole separate base that Willie developed from his strawberry that he came up with, or the sugar cookie.
Yeah.
So from the start, that's been our approach. And as we grow, we want to keep that approach. I just need to circle back to food coloring because that's a great segue for me.
Yeah.
We don't use food coloring we don't add any food coloring starting this season. So
Nice.
this strawberry, it looks the same as the strawberry we've always had. It has the same ingredients. It has no food coloring. We threw out our jug of Gordon's Food Service red and green food coloring starting at the beginning of this year.
Very cool.
This is a tiny bit of red beet juice concentrate just to give it that redness to it. You can't taste it though.
Yeah. Awesome.
So fun fact.
Talk to me about the local sourcing.
Local sourcing. So this maple walnut, the maple syrup in the base of this maple walnut is from Clifford, Michigan, from New Biggin Farms.
Awesome.
Just a small farmer guy. His father started the farm, and he still runs it. And in 2022, it won the Michigan Maple Syrup Association Maple Syrup of the Year. Right. So
there's maple syrup awards.
There are. We post about it on our Facebook, so you can find New Biggin Farms and
amazing.
So he brings me a few gallons at a time, and then I cook it down into almost the maple sugar that goes in the base. And then these walnuts that come from St. Laurent Brothers are infused with the maple syrup. So we make our own mix-ins too.
Oh.
Yeah. That's where it gets its flavor from.
I just did a story on St. Laurent Brothers.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
it was great.
You see it?
Yeah, of course I saw it.
Behind-the-scenes video. I thought the idea for the video was so cool because there's a vicious rumor going around because nobody's seen stuff being made that none of it's made. Like they don't make the chocolate, they don't make the nuts, whatever. But then you go up to the second floor and like, no, there's just buckets and buckets of peanuts everywhere, and here's the furnace, and here's the conveyor belt, and here's Dana in the other room making chocolate clusters, and I thought that was super cool.
They're very authentic. Yeah, you completely dispelled that whole rumor.
Yeah.
Like, I love that video.
Rumor go and die. And that's very cool for you guys too, because like one, you can go down the road and get your walnuts.
It is helpful.
But it also as a business, like there's a lot of great brand carryover because you're using St. Laurent Brothers walnuts, and they're saying, hey, you can go get this in ice cream over at Cream and Sugar. So
it goes towards community. We're trying to support other local businesses. Let's see, off the top of my head, we have Farmer Paul's produce stand off of Cass in Bay City is where we got our sweet corn last August and July for our caramel sweet corn flavor that we did.
Caramel sweet corn?
Yeah, so as far as like the off the wall weird flavors, that one did very well. The people that try, I was skeptical. Sometimes we'll do a flavor just for those people that, you know, it's their
I suppose
niche.
like with kettle corn.
Right, that's kind of what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And we make our own caramel, of course, with Pioneer sugar and locally sourced dairy.
What's been the craziest recipe that you've done?
So there's a few candidates to answer that question. Strawberry rhubarb was a fun one.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rhubarb last year came from Stutzman Family Farm in northern Michigan. This year, Utterly Bliss Farm in Grand Junction is the guy that grows the produce there is gonna come meet me with some in May, I want to say. But yeah, and we just make our own strawberry compote, a rhubarb compote, and it was like almost a sherbet again. It was pretty soft.
Yeah. Sounds delicious though.
Thanks.
Oof.
It was popular.
I feel did Willie give me like a jalapeno something at the beginning or
habanero?
Habanero.
It was
Is
habanero.
That what it was?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one we actually we brought back last year. It was a habanero cinnamon one.
Oh yeah.
And it was a very niche variety. So every year for Cinco de Mayo we try to do something fun and spicy. This year I'm looking at doing something with honey, like a hot honey. So I have a 5-gallon bucket, like 60 pounds of honey I got from Shoemaker Farms in Hemlock last weekend. And then right now I'm using that for some honey lavender with the lavender seeds that come from Lavender Hills, which is another Michigan farm. But if I have some left over, then we'll we'll do a hot honey. So
Yeah, just
again, there's so many, like I can't even remember all of the different local sources because I try to source locally. I'm working on getting some carrots right now for this carrot cake flavor from Arbery Farms.
yeah.
And it just goes on and on.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the carrot cake. Very cool. Like Michigan cream and sugar. You've got Michigan sugar involved. You got MMPA, Michigan Milk Producers Association. But then you're also niching that down to the next level too, like going out to the maple syrup farm and getting it from him, or to Hemlock and getting the honey or the walnuts from St. Laurent. Like it's more than just kind of the surface level organizations, like all the way down to the ingredients you can get.
Yeah, we could check a box and say we're local just because we get our sugar and milk from someplace.
Right.
But we try to be local and small batch and as much as possible.
That's very
and we do have the cross branding. So they don't grow a lot of coffee beans in Michigan, right? It's not, but we have coffee ice cream flavors. So Live Oak coffee roasters roast their coffee beans in Midland. So we get it from them because it's roasted locally.
I love it. So 5 years ago, you opened in Uptown.
Correct.
When did you come on board?
Yeah, a great question that I get a lot. So I came in the summer of 2020. That was our first big summer. So we opened in the end of 2019, and that was supposed to be our first winter to kind of get our legs under us and operate that brick and mortar, you know. And so 2020 was going to be our first big summer, right? And so there were some curveballs that got thrown there.
Yeah,
obviously.
I wonder what you could be talking about there, because you guys are also seasonal too. You're not open 12 months of the year, correct? That's
something that we've had to work out. We started we were open all the way through 2019 into 2020, and we found that seasonality is not bad for us. So we open in March and through October right now in Bay City, and then last year we did holiday pints until the end of December. And in the future, I don't know how that's going to shake out, but right now we are seasonal.
Okay. Yeah. So you have that kind of seasonality in 2020, but then also you have 2020.
So I was working at Horizons. We mentioned they're one of the businesses that helped set up Cream and Sugar.
Okay.
And then, so Willie took a step back with COVID and everything and health concerns and all that. And so when they reopened after that first initial lockdown, I was not doing anything at Horizons because Horizons was closed. You know, there was no banquets happening.
You can't do like drive-through wedding receptions.
Yeah, you could in Las Vegas, I think, but that's not our style.
I mean, you hear about like how hard 2020 was for so many businesses, and it was. Mm-hmm. But you could, with a lot of businesses, retail, restaurants, still very difficult, but you could still function. You could do drive-through, you could do pickup only. Yeah. But something like an event space, I mean, what are you going to do?
That's a whole other podcast. Horizons has weathered that storm, and they're doing great. But in the meantime, Cream and Sugar called me up and said, "Hey, I know you're not doing anything right now. You want to come help make ice cream?" And so I said, "Sure."
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. And that's, the rest is history.
Cool.
It's been a lot of learning, experimenting, making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. Mm-hmm. This blood, sweat, and tears has gone into these flavors being refined to the point that they are now. And we're always getting better too.
Well,
and you can never be perfect.
And I want to point that out too, because having a connection to Cream and Sugar at the beginning, like I saw the blood, sweat, and tears. I saw the mistakes. I saw hey, we're trying something crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, try this. And I would sit there with Elizabeth and we would try something and be like, I don't know if I like this, or I love this flavor, but the consistency is weird. And sometimes people hear that and they're like, well, like, they're experimenting? They absolutely, you have to experiment. You have to make mistakes if you want something really great at the end. And here, like, you've got a case of 19 flavors that are awesome because you've tasted it from the beginning. You tasted recipe one. It's, I need a little bit more of this. I need a little more base. I need a little of this, that little flavor. You test it again and you test it again, and then you serve it to somebody. It's not like, well, I saw this recipe on TikTok and we made 20 gallons of it, and now we got to sell it to people.
Yeah, no, that's not how we do it. Yeah. A lot of work, a lot of testing, a lot of test batches. I have multiple test batches in my freezer right now. That we're working through.
I love it.
But the consistency issue, that goes to, like, there's an art and there's a science. So when you build your ice cream, you want to literally do a spreadsheet and I geek out on spreadsheets, but it's important to know like what is the butterfat content of the ice cream going to be to make sure what is the melt point going to be? Our ice cream freezes at about 26 to 27 degrees. That's when it comes out of the batch freezer, and we need to know that that's the correct point. What's the best service point going to be? I already know that before I even make it. I know that it's going to be best served at about 3 degrees above zero.
Because that's the other hard thing about when you make stuff from scratch, as opposed to buying it from a producer. You're not only in charge of the flavor and the quality, you're in charge of the consistency. So it doesn't matter if you can make one killer batch of ice cream. You got to make a killer batch of ice cream every single day for the entire season, on top of 19 other flavors, on top of all that. Because when I bring my friends the next week and say, oh, you've got to taste this Bay City brownie flavor, it's killer. And it's complete disappointment because it's all over the place. Like everybody loses. I'm sad when I should have been happy. My friends are bummed out. You're bummed out. And so that consistency is not the fun part of it necessarily, but it's so important.
The discipline. So there are systems we've put in place to make sure that that happens. So we don't use a lot of measuring cups and scoops. We do everything down to the gram on digital scales.
Oh, wow.
I posted on Facebook recently just a candid picture of a bunch of buckets of powder with spreadsheets taped to them. Because every time we make a recipe, whoever puts that sugar in there crosses it off when they're done with it. And they pour the cream and they cross it off just to make sure it comes out the exact same way every single time.
How fun.
Yeah, our team does a great job. They do an awesome job.
When did the idea for an Uptown Old Town Saginaw location come in?
We've been kicking that around for a while. It's something that's been a goal of ours. I'm so excited that it's happening this year. Yeah. When did it first come around? I think since the beginning, we've had an idea that there should be a store too.
Yeah.
And just making that a reality there's been so many layouts drawn for this ice cream location. We've looked at different properties and stuff.
Yeah.
At least a couple of years we've been seriously working on it.
How cool. When do you think you'll open?
We'll be open this season.
Okay, yeah. So this season sometimes, people. So check out Michigan Cream and Sugar on Facebook.
Yes, My Cream Sugar.
Okay, and then also Riverfront Saginaw, of course, will roll out opening dates and things. So are you going to sell retail there too? Like, can I go in and buy tubs, or talk to me about the ice cream experience?
Yeah, great question. So it should be the same experience as far as coming into a scoop shop to get your favorite bubble cone in Old Town Saginaw as it is in Bay City. So great service, awesome products. The case is going to look the same.
Yeah.
And we'll still have that freezer there where you can buy your Pioneer Quart and take it home and enjoy it, watching Netflix at 10 o'clock at night, right? Which is one of the best ways to enjoy ice cream.
I love that you mentioned the bubble cone, because people lose their minds over the bubble. What is a bubble cone for the uninitiated?
Yeah, it's our famous bubble cone. So it is almost like a Belgian waffle, but it's crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside. And we cook them to order, and it gets folded into a cone for your ice cream, and your ice cream goes onto it while it's hot, and it all just kind of melts together, and you eat it, and it's an experience.
It is an experience. Like, imagine, like, when people say waffle cones, it's like the crispy waffle. But imagine like a firm waffle that you eat in the morning. Like, that's similar to the consistency for me.
Similar.
Yeah.
You have to really just try it. It's similar, but not exact. They're like fluffy. They have a little bit of that malt flavor to them.
Yeah.
A little bit. And our staff likes to make them for breakfast sometimes when we open, just to eat on their own with no ice cream.
Yeah. Absolutely delicious.
Yeah, which you can do too if you're a customer. Just come in and order bubblecone.
It's a fun addition to Old Town Saginaw, Riverfront Saginaw, the food scene here, because I tell everybody, I dare you to take another 2-block radius in any other city in Michigan and tell me about like the great food. In a city this size, in an area this size, you just have some incredible food coming out of the 2 blocks. But that I could go to Artisan Urban Bistro for dinner and then eat one of Lonnie's cannolis and then walk down and have a second dessert and eat some ice cream. Amazing. Or Passong's or any of these other places. Like, I could walk down and swing by for an ice cream cone. It's awesome.
We're so excited to be coming to Old Town. The neighborhood just has so much character, so much authenticity, and that's what we're all about, is authenticity. And I think it's just going to be a great fit for us. It's an up and coming neighborhood. Sometimes people in Bay City will ask me, really, Old Town Saginaw? I'm like, yes,
Heck
really,
yeah.
absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, and those are people that have not been to Old Town Saginaw.
And they'll come and they'll try the ice cream and they'll see it.
Yep, and they'll come and they'll try the ice cream and go, oh my goodness. And then they'll swing, like, where should I go for dinner? Well, I've got a list of places for you. And then their minds are changed because you have to be here. You have to meet the people. You have to actually eat the food. And then all of a sudden perspective shifts.
Yeah.
And that's what I also love about you guys, like the Bay City Saginaw connection. I think there's so much to be gained by especially those two communities really saying, hey, how can we really work together? How can we complement each other? How can we create a music scene and a public art scene, all of those things? And so when you have these businesses that have a footprint in both, I think that's encouraging for folks. It's like, well, I could swing by the Bay City Cream and Sugar, but I could also swing by the Old Town Cream and Sugar.
Yeah, it's a great fit for us. We're also excited because it's going to be a larger production space.
Oh, yeah.
So we started as just one standalone shop, and making ice cream from scratch is very intensive, and to do it to the level and the way that we're doing it takes a lot of work and a lot of space. So it'll be a state-of-the-art production facility. The entire place is 3,200 square feet, and then about 3/4 of that is the production area.
Oh, wow.
I'm really excited. As somebody who's like heavily involved in making ice cream, like I'm just so excited.
Yeah, especially since you're such a process-oriented guy, like the equipment is part of the process, the technique is part of the process, but the space is also part of the process, because you can't have great processes if you're walking sideways in a kitchen and running.
We do what we have to do,
Yeah.
but we're very excited to be opening the location for
you
sure.
get a big, luxurious, spread out production space.
And I like to take behind the scenes pictures, just for Facebook or whatever. In the kitchen, sometimes they're not, they're real pictures, like I've been known to, and sometimes my social media people get on me about it, but I like to be authentic. So I don't know. We have this thing where the YMCA kids will come visit us in Bay City, and we'll roll the ice cream machine out front, and we'll make ice cream. It's on our Facebook from last summer. We're doing it again this year. But what I'd like to do, with a larger facility, is maybe we could show people behind the scenes, put on a hairnet and stuff, and when we're not producing, come back and take a look. So
heck yeah,
there's a lot of opportunities. I'm excited.
Yeah, we are real people making real ice cream at Cream and Sugar.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, I'm so excited to have you open it in Old Town Saginaw. Also excited to swing by your location in Uptown, Bay City. Looking for that opening date.
Yeah, follow us. Our website is michigancreamsugar.com, or on Facebook at My Cream Sugar.
Heck yeah, do it, people. Ice cream's amazing. Tim's amazing. Cream and Sugar is amazing. Michigan Sugar, MMPA, all of you guys are amazing for bringing this incredible business to both Bay City and Saginaw. Tim, I want to thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. It's been a pleasure anytime, and I'm always happy to bring ice cream for you to try. So
ice cream for breakfast, baby.
For sure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Heck yeah, I love all of those. Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is our taco filament, which is like our